Today is the disappearance day of Jagannath Das Babaji and Rasikananda Prabhu. So we will sing the prayers to the departed Vaishnavas. Jayanilo Premadana Koruna Prachur Jayanilo Premadana Koruna Prachur Hino Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kaha mora swarup rupa Kaha sanatan Kaha dasa raghunatha patita pavan Kaha mora bhata juga Kaha kavira Eka kale kotha gela gora nataraj Pashane kotibo matha Anale pashibo Gauranga gunera nidhi Kotha gele pabo Se saba sangira sange Je koilo bilas Si sangana paya kande Narotamoda Jayanilo Premadana Koruna Prachur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivarjakacharya Astotara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tosi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. So read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love, and it was filled with compassion and mercy. Where has such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna Das Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where shall I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, and whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Jaim. So today is the disappearance day of two great personalities, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and Rasikananda Prabhu. So they're important personalities in our disciplic succession. So today we can meditate on them. So first we'll say the beginning prayers to seek blessings. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. So these days are very important for us because on these days where it's the appearance day or disappearance day of great personalities, we have a chance to meditate on their glories, pray to them, and try to imbibe maybe even a drop of the mood that they have, the love that they have for Krishna. And each personality in the Vaishnav calendar, if you read and study about their lives, they each have a very different flavor of the way they spread Krishna consciousness, the way they had their relationship with Krishna. And so each personality we can derive some inspiration in our journey. So Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is I'll talk about him first, and then we'll go to Rasikananda Prabhu. As we know, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is very closely linked in our Guru Parampara. So we have Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, then the 6 Goswamis, then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then Baladeva Vijayabhushan. And after Baladeva Vijayabhushan, there was his disciple was called Uddhava Das Babaji, and his disciple was Madhusudana Das Babaji, and his disciple was Jagannath Das Babaji. So only 4 generations from Baladeva Vijayabhushan, or he was the 3rd generation from Baladeva Vijayabhushan. And then we of course know that Jagannath Das Babaji is the Shiksha Guru of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Then we have Gorakishore Das Babaji, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then our Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj appeared in the middle of the 18th century. It's not very clear the exact date when he was born, but he lived a very long life. It said, in some accounts it says 145, 147 years old. Can you imagine how old? And there's not much description about his earlier life, like, his parents or his childhood or anything, not much described. There's more details about his later life when he was already quite elderly. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually called him the Vaishnava, the commander-in-chief of all the Vaishnavas. And the pranam mantra for Jagannath Das Babaji is Gora Virbhava Bhume Stvam Nirdeshcha Sajana Priya. He is the one who discovered the place of the birth of Lord Chaitanya. And Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha. He's the chief among all the entire Vaishnava community. So at that time, he was considered the most exalted, in his time, the most exalted Vaishnava in Vrindavan and Navadvip. He was called the Siddha Baba. He was completely absorbed in chanting the holy names. He would chant for days and days and days on end. Like one thing that he would do is for 3 days, non-stop, 3 days and nights, he would just chant the holy names, not eating, not sleeping, for 3 days. Then at the end of the 3 days, he would break his fast with some prasadam, and then he would again do another 3 days. So this was his taste for the holy name. He would just relish, just chanting, chanting, chanting. And then he would have even more severe vratas during Chaturmasya and other times where he would chant non-stop for even longer periods of time. He also would do 1,000 dandavats in front of his Giriraj Shila every morning. I can't imagine at that age, how he was able to do that. His body was so, and in the elderly age, his body was so disformed that he was just kind of like in a semicircle. He couldn't even stand up straight. And he had to be carried in a basket or palanquin he had a very strong and stout disciple called Bihari who would carry him everywhere. And his eyelids, because of old age, they couldn't even open by themselves. So he had to have somebody lift the eyelids so he could see. Otherwise, they would just stay closed. So while he was doing his puja for his Giriraj, 2 disciples would be holding his eyelids so he could do the puja for his Giriraj Shila. Talk about transcending the bodily platform. I was just meditating on that, how, we have aches and pains in our bodies, and it can distract us from our spiritual life. But these exalted personalities are on another level. They're just completely beyond the bodily level. And why do they still have to go through these kind of experiences? It's so that we can get inspired by their example. That, we may not be at that level, but at least we can aspire to come to the state where we are more absorbed in our spiritual nourishment. Of course, we take care of the body, we take care of the mind, but our internal spiritual nourishment actually is what's driving us forward. So one miraculous thing about Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is that even though he was so bent over, so old, and in one way you could say disabled, he would say in this age, but when there was kirtan, he would go into ecstasy, and all of a sudden he would jump up, and he was actually a very tall person, and all of a sudden his body would become straight, and he would dance. He would jump high in the air, and he would dance in ecstasy, tears falling from his eyes. It was incredible. It was incredible. He would live 6 months in Vrindavan, 6 months in Mayapur. He would go back and forth like that. And at the end of his life, he decided he just wanted to stay in Mayapur and not go back and forth so much. And the reason he said is, I'm so fallen and, I can't access Krishna's mercy, Radha Krishna's mercy, but Lord Chaitanya is so merciful. I just want to stay under the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So the rest of the final years, he was in Navadvip. As we know the famous story, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was trying to figure out where is the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya? Where is the exact location? He was looking at old maps and he trying to figure it out, because people across the Ganges in the town of Navadvip were claiming that was the place of Lord Chaitanya's birth. Because wherever it's considered the place, they would get a lot of tourists and they would get a lot of money, so they were really attached to that. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur had doubts, so he followed the maps. He came to the place where there was, it was like a community, a Muslim community living there, and he saw that they told him, actually this place is barren. There's nothing grows here. Only tulsi grows here. No vegetables, any seed you plant, only tulsi comes out, nothing else. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying, this is interesting. And he found that the place was very effulgent. Actually, from his veranda across the Jalangi, when he saw that place, he saw it was glowing. So he saw it was full of tulsi plants. And to confirm it was the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya, he had Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj brought there. Because if a pure devotee can confirm it, then for sure that would be the place. So when Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj came there in the basket, as soon as he came there, he jumped out of the basket and was jumping like 4 feet in the air and saying, this is the place of Lord Chaitanya, Jai, Sachinandana Gaura Hari. And he was chanting and dancing in ecstasy. So this confirmed. So there's many different pastimes of Jagannath Das Babaji, actually not that many. In this book, this is a book by Rupa Vilas Prabhu. It's a book that has Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj's pastimes and Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj's pastimes. So I thought it would be half and half. But actually, about this much of the book is all Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and only this much is Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, because there's not much written about him. But the pastimes that are there about Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj are quite amazing. I just wanted to read something that Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote about him, because when you hear from an account of a pure devotee about a pure devotee, it's really, really special. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote that after meeting him, he met him, and he immediately could see that this is the most advanced Vaishnava. And they spent the whole night of Ekadashi just talking Krishna Katha. Can you imagine 2 pure devotees coming together, what kind of Katha they would be having? So they were just relishing, chanting and hearing and talking about Krishna. So after spending the whole night, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, in the Ekadashi vigil, people from the entire village gathered together at 8 in the morning to go on Nagar Sankirtan through its streets. With the Venerable Jagannath Das Babaji at the head of the group, they made their way to the Prapana ashram. It is impossible to describe Babaji's ecstatic transformation during this kirtan. Though he is over 100 years old, he dances like a lion, sometimes singing out the couplet, Nitai ki nama enechere, nama neche namer hate, Shadhara mule nama dite chere. O Lord Nityananda, what a wonderful name you have brought. O Nitai, what a wonderful name you have given. He has brought the name to the marketplace and is selling it for the price of faith. As Babaji Maharaj sang, he cried and fell to the ground in ecstasy. I then saw something transpire which I'd never seen before. All present were affected by his mood. Their eyes filled with tears and their hairs stood on end. And even though they could barely sing, they remained absorbed in the kirtan and danced wildly. So this is in the year 1891. So not very long ago in history, where we're seeing these ecstatic emotions that we read about in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is dancing in ecstasy. And not only that, everyone who's seeing him is also transformed, and also their hairs are standing on end, they're shivering in ecstasy, and they can hardly sing, seeing that. So this is not something that we just read about. This is actually something that the highest states of ecstasy that these pure devotees go through. We even know in Srila Prabhupada, he did not often display these ecstatic symptoms, but sometimes they would just come out, where tears would shoot from his eyes and he would just get stunned in ecstasy. Like the famous one where he was in Atlanta and he saw the Gornitai deities and he said, there's Gornitai are so merciful. And he choked up, he couldn't speak anymore. And the devotees said that those who were sitting in front, they were actually sprinkled and by the force of Srila Prabhupada's tears that were just coming out like syringes. And so Srila Prabhupada didn't often display these, and sometimes devotees would ask him, what should we do when you have these moments where you become ecstatic? And Srila Prabhupada kind of shyly said, that doesn't happen very often, and he kind of looked down, because a pure devotee doesn't want to show these symptoms in public, because it's something very private. It is their loving relationship with Krishna. But sometimes they just manifest, right? They can't control it. Their love for Krishna comes out in these ways. Again, pure devotees have all the astasiddhis, all the perfections of the great yogis. But again, they don't like to show these perfections. They can do amazing things. Pure devotees can, sometimes devotees, when they saw Srila Prabhupada, they said, when Srila Prabhupada looked at me, I felt like he could see into my heart, like he could see my soul. And these pure devotees can perform miraculous things, but they don't often show it, but sometimes they do, just so that it can create faith in people. So there's this one story where these two landlords came to Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and said, can you show us, we heard you're a siddha, can you show us some miracle? And Babaji Maharaj said, what? Who told you I'm a siddha? And then he began thumping the ground with a stick really loudly, and those two landlords became very nervous. Oh, Babaji Maharaj is getting angry. Let's leave. And he said, no, I'm not angry. I'm just trying to drive away the she-goat who's devouring the tulsi plant in Lokanath Goswami's Kunj and Radhakund. And here they are in Navadvip Dham. And he's saying, I'm just trying to drive away the goat that's in Radhakund, another place. And they were surprised, and they sent a telegram. That's, I guess, the way they could communicate in those days. And they found out that, yes, there had been a goat that day who had eaten the tulsi plant, and then they heard a sound, and then the goat ran away. So this is the amazing thing. Babaji Maharaj could perform these kind of miracles, and later he told Bihari, I don't like to do this kind of thing, but just because I wanted to create faith in these people, because if I don't show them this, then they may make some offenses, and their spiritual lives would be hampered. Another miracle was when there was two times. One is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's son was really, really sick, and nobody could cure him. No doctor could cure him. And Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj said, just put some dust of the dham on his head, put a tulsi leaf in his mouth, and he became cured. Another disciple, his disciple Bihari, also was very, very sick. And Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj just sat next to him, gave him a tulsi leaf, and just chanted japa next to him. And within half an hour, the disciple was completely back to normal, was able to cook for his Guru Maharaj. Another miracle was his disciple Bihari was not a Bengali speaker. In fact, he was illiterate. He was a Brajvasi. He couldn't read what to speak of reading Bengali. But his guru, Jagannath Das Babaji, said, I would like you to read Chaitanya Charitamrita to me. And he said, Guru Maharaj, I can't read. You know, and I don't know how to read Bengali. And Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj said, just look at the book. Just look and see. And he looked, and all of a sudden, he was able to read. He was able to read it fluently, and not only read it, but it described the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya so beautifully. The same thing happened one time. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was singing kirtan, and he said to Bihari, play mridanga. And Bihari said, I don't know how to play mridanga. He said, just pick it up. And he picked it up, and all of a sudden, he could play this most intricate beats on the mridanga. So small little miracles like this that show that a pure devotee is able to do anything with Krishna's mercy. He had, besides having extreme faith in the holy name, he also had extreme faith in the holy dham. So in those days, or even today, there's the strong caste system, and where you don't, the highly esteemed brahmanas don't come in contact with the lower castes, who are the sweepers. But there was one sweeper in Vrindavan, and Babaji Maharaj came to the sweeper and said, can I have a roti? And the sweeper lady said, are you joking with me? And he said, no, I'm very hungry. Give me some food. And so she gave him a roti and little sabji, and he ate it. And everyone was shocked. How can this Babaji, this pure devotee, eat from the hand of a sweeper lady? It's considered very low. And then, how could you have done this? You're ruining the kind of standards that we have. And Babaji Maharaj said, don't you understand? Don't you know the importance of the dust of Vrindavan? It's so charged with Krishna prema that even Brahma longs to be a particle of it. Isn't the sweeper of Vrindavan, who serves the dust and rolls and bathes in it incessantly, therefore purer than any one of us? Imagine the sweeper who's just full of the Chintamani dust of Vrindavan. So he had such faith in the dham, in the dust of Vrindavan. And there's another famous story where he was eating prasadam in Navadvip, and there was little puppies who came, and they started eating off of his plate. And Bihari, his servant, shooed them away. And Jagannath Das Babaji stopped eating. He said, I'm not going to eat until you bring them back. These are Dhamvasis, and they were trying to have some prasadam. How could you send them away? So Bihari had to get the puppies back, and Jagannath Das Babaji ate with them, sharing his prasad with the puppies, because he saw them as Dhamvasis. At the end, I'll just read one thing that Babaji Maharaj said at the end near his, somebody asked him, how come you're leaving Vrindavan? And he replied, I'm leaving because I want to pass the last days of my life in Navadvip at the lotus feet of Gaurnitai. I'm a lowly person. I do not know how many offenses I have committed. Gaurnitai of Navadvip are more merciful than Krishna of Vrindavan. They condone the offenses of the jiva, give him a loving embrace, and accept them as their prasad. Krishna is the avatar of Dwapara Yuga. Gora is the avatar of Kali Yuga. We should chant the name of the kirtan of the avatar of whose age we live, just as we sing the praises of the king in whose kingdom we live. You should not forget Gora, for he is even more benevolent and merciful than Krishna. Krishna is just like a just ruler who takes into account your offenses in his administration of justice. Gora does not take into account your offenses. While Krishna is more interested in the dispensation of justice, Gora is more interested in the dispensation of mercy. From this point of view, Gora Kirtan is more useful than Krishna Kirtan. Gora Kirtan is, for example, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. I actually read in one place where it says that it's Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj who popularized or made this a standard to sing this. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Of course, we have to, as Prabhupada said, we chant. Lord Chaitanya is very, very merciful. So before we chant the Panchatattva mantra, but then we chant Hare Krishna because Lord Chaitanya told us to chant Hare Krishna. It's not that we just do rounds of Panchatattva mantra because that would not please Gaura-Nitai and we want to please them, right? Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. So from Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, would anyone like to share some mood or something that you would like to pray to him for? That's what I was thinking when I was preparing for these classes, that instead of just reading about their lives, try to think of what is their mood and how can what should I pray to them on this day for? Would anyone like to share something about Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, that the mood that attracts you and what you would like to pray to him for? Yes. Yeah, okay. Drishtapu was saying the mood of being swept up in kirtan, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes, seeing Babaji Maharaj ecstatic in the kirtan. Anything else anybody would like to share? Something about, yeah. Yes. Straight. Yeah. That he was, Anadi Krishna Prabhu was saying that even though he was so bent over, he couldn't even open his eyelids in kirtan. He was like like a young boy. Yes. Anything else? Yes. Sharing prasadam with the puppies, his love for the Dham and the Dhamvasis. Yes. Don't do that at home. Yeah. Some of these examples you can just admire but you may not want to, you can't exactly follow these great personalities, everything that they do, but we can pray for that mood of respect for the Dhamvasis. Would you like to share? Yeah, pray to him to lift us beyond the body because we're so affected by that. Yes, I also was thinking the same thing. Yeah. Yes. Would you like to? Yeah. Yes, yes. Pray to him for a taste of the holy name. Yes. He had, imagine chanting for 3 days with nonstop. After time we get, maybe we can chant 2 hours in a row, or there's some great personalities who are able to chant 64 rounds and go. But imagine 3 days nonstop. Just I can't even imagine that taste. Imagine the nourishment that you're getting from Nam Prabhu that you don't even think about sleeping and eating. Or just amazing. He was not eating, and then he would break his fast after the 3rd day. So, yeah. That's really yes. Yes, we're not the body. Anyone else wanted to share something? Yeah. Okay, so Rasikananda Prabhu. Rasikananda Prabhu is a disciple of Shyamananda Prabhu. So now we're going back another generation. So we had Lord Chaitanya, the 6 Goswamis, and the 6 Goswamis, Jiva Goswami was the Shiksha Guru of those 3, Shyamananda Pandit, Srinivasacharya, and Narottam Das Thakur, that he sent out of Vrindavan to preach Krishna consciousness. And of those 3, Shyamananda Pandit went to Orissa. And in Orissa, he initiated a disciple called Rasikananda. Now, Rasikananda was already a pure devotee from birth. I mean, of course they all are, but he was exhibiting the advancement even from childhood. When he was a little baby, he would cry. When someone would say the name of Krishna, he would cry in ecstasy. In fact, the parents were a little bit worried because they would just say something, Hare Krishna chant to it, and all of a sudden the baby would just cry and cry and cry, tears of ecstasy, hearing Krishna's name. And then they would chant more to try to make him stop, but he would cry more hearing the name of Krishna. It's the opposite of what Nimai, right? But when he was a little boy, he would take his friends and they would do Sankirtan in the village. and then he would enact the pastimes of Krishna with his friends, just like Lord Nityananda used to do. He would read and hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day. He was completely absorbed in hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's names, and even with his little friends, he was already spreading Krishna consciousness. This is even before he met Shyamananda Prabhu. His parents got him married, even though he was not really interested in marriage, but his wife was very, very spiritually inclined, and together they would practice Krishna consciousness. But he had a desire, I want to have a spiritual master. And this is also a very good example for us, that no matter how elevated we are, the pure devotee never thinks that they can do it without a guru, a spiritual preceptor. So he was always praying, who is my guru? And he heard a voice that said, Shyamananda Prabhu is your guru. And in Vrindavan, Shyamananda Prabhu got a dream that Rasikananda, your disciple in Orissa, you should go initiate him. So finally the two met, and they embraced, and Rasikananda took Shyamananda Prabhu home, washed his lotus feet, and he surrendered to him, please give me initiation. And Shyamananda Prabhu gave initiation to him and his wife. And he instructed him to preach Krishna consciousness. So Rasikananda would be home sometimes, and sometimes he would just go out with his guru and just spread Krishna consciousness. And then sometimes his guru would instruct him to go somewhere and make that village into a Krishna conscious village. And oftentimes he was sent to places that were really materialistic and really sinful, where people were completely not Krishna conscious or not absorbed in Krishna. And he would go there and transform the whole village by his potency. He, again, had a great taste for the holy names. He would cry and chant in ecstasy and transform people by that potency. It's described that even Yavanas, Mlechas would become devotees. Sometimes there's stories of how they would try to stop him and impede him, but after some time they would see that this is a very special personality and they would surrender to him. So he was able to transform even the lowest of people into the greatest devotees. The famous story of Rasikananda is that once there was a Yavana who was really angry with Rasikananda, and he ordered him to be punished. Just at that time, there was a mad elephant who came through the village, and this elephant was destroying everything. And Rasikananda came out fearlessly in front of the elephant. And suddenly the elephant stopped, and Rasikananda just touched him on the head, and the elephant completely transformed, offered obeisances to Rasikananda, and actually it's described he became the disciple of Rasikananda. So he became the elephant disciple, and Rasikananda gave him the name Gopal. And this elephant, he was actually doing service for his guru. It's described, I was reading from this is another book. This is a book by Rasikananda, about Rasikananda by his disciple Gopi Jana Vallabha Das. And it's described that the elephant, one time Rasikananda and his disciples were going through the area where the elephant was living. When the elephant Gopal Das came to know of Rasika's return, he became anxious to see his guru again. So he left the forest and slowly came to the place where Rasika was standing. Upon seeing Rasika, he fell at his feet and washed them with his tears. Then Rasika narrated to him the glories of Sri Krishna and the message of the Gita. Receiving this special knowledge, Gopal Das bowed at his guru's feet and returned to the forest. And then one time they were lost in the forest, and the forest was very dense. But Rasika and Rasika's disciples were forced to stay under a tree without food because they got lost. Gopal Das came to that place and understood that Rasika was fasting. He ran like the wind to the home of the forest dweller and collected rice from him. Returning to Rasika, Gopal Das proceeded to offer the rice at his feet. So everyone got scared seeing the elephant, and they were like thinking, oh no, this elephant, but then they saw that he was actually, so he just put the rice there and he went to a distant place because he didn't want to scare the disciples away. And Rasika cooked the rice for all the devotees, and he placed his hand on the elephant's head and said, render service to the devotees of the Lord and never blaspheme them. Always go and visit the holy places of pilgrimage. And it's described that Gopal Das would visit the places of pilgrimage too, all the holy places, the elephant. There's another story where, so Rasikananda, I would say, the thing that stood out most about him, like, you know how we were talking about Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, how what we want to pray to him for and what stands out to us about him. For me, Rasikananda exemplifies a fearless surrender to the spiritual master, that he was willing to do anything his spiritual master said, and he would fearlessly go out and spread Krishna consciousness to everyone, anyone and everyone, and he would transform people's hearts. One time he came across 2 tigers that were blocking the path. Everyone except Rasika was extremely afraid. Rasika walked forward and spoke thus: "Listen, my tigers, give up your wicked deeds and dedicate yourself to Lord Krishna. Due to your past sins, you have taken birth in a sinful species of life. If you do not worship Krishna, now you will continue to suffer birth after birth. Become fixed in the worship of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Do not give trouble to the devotees." On hearing this, the tigers fell at the feet of Rasika and shed tears. Rasika placed his hands on their heads and spoke the holy names into their ears so that they could receive spiritual enlightenment. After this, they became Rasika's guides and brought him from the forest into a village. The next morning, the villagers all wanted to see the tigers, but Rasika ordered the tigers, "My dear sons, go and worship Krishna sincerely." Hearing this, they bowed to him and entered into the forest. So here's another example, how he was fearless. He was, elephants, tigers, kind of, we can think about Lord Chaitanya going through the Jagannath forest with fearlessly making even the animals chant and cry in ecstasy. How did he disappear from this world? He went into the in Remuna, the Gopinath temple, Shirachora Gopinath temple. He went into that temple, and after nobody saw him coming out, and they realized that he merged into, or he went into the deity of Shirachora Gopinath. His Pushpa Samadhi is next to Shyamananda Prabhu's in Vrindavan. So you know that temple of Radhasham Sundar in Vrindavan? That's where you can find the Samadhi of Shyamananda Pandit, and next to it is his disciple, Rasikananda's Samadhi. No, he's before. He's disciple of Shyamananda Pandit, who's a disciple of Shiksha, disciple of Jiva Goswami. So he's like closer to Lord Chaitanya's time period. Yeah, he was in the 1500s. He was born, 1590. 1600s. He was born in 1590, so he was there. Yeah. And Jagannath Das Babaji was in the 1800s. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shri Rasikananda Prabhu ki jai. Okay. Anybody want to share anything? Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's so many. In this book, there's like full of stories like that, where he converted people that were like, all kinds of people. And I forgot to finish that story about the elephant. After that Yavana who was telling him to stop, who was going to punish him, after he saw he transformed the elephant, he became a disciple of Rasikananda. So, yeah. So for us, we can pray to him for courage to serve Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was also fearless. Imagine coming to a country, at that elderly age, not knowing anybody, and converting people from a very low status to pure Vaishnavas. So that's the potency of Srila Prabhupada that we can see also Rasikananda displaying here. Jai Shri Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Rasikananda Prabhu ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Gom.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvantam Maravindadalayataksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Giram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham.
Page 56. O he Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori O he Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori Diyapada Chaya Shodaya Maya Tomara Charana Dori Diyapada Chaya Shodaya Maya Tomara Charana Dori Chaya Begadomi, Chaya Dosha Shodhi, Chaya Guna Deho Dasi. Chaya Begadomi, Chaya Dosha Shodhi, Chaya Guna Deho Dasi. Chaya Satsanga Deho Yamare Boshechi Sangerashe Yamare Boshechi Sangerashe एकाकी हमारा नाही पाया बाला हरि नाम संकीर्तने एकाकी हमारा नहीं पाया बाला हरि नाम संकीर्तने তুমি কৃপা করি সদা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নামাধানে তুমি কৃপা করি সদা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নামাধানে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমারা कृष्णा दीते पारा तुम्हारा शक्ति आछे कृष्णा से तुम्हारा कृष्णा दीते पारा तुम्हारा शक्ति आछे आमी तो कांगाला कृष्ण कृष्ण बोली আমি তব পাছে পাছে আমি তো কাঙ্গালা কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি ধাই তব পাছে পাছে আমি তো কাঙ্গালা কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি ধাই তব পাছে পাছে कृष्णा कृष्णा बोले दैतव पाचे पाचे ओ हे वैष्णव ठाकुरा दयार सागरा हे दासे करुणा कोरी ओ हे वैष्णव ठाकुरा दयार सागरा हे दासे करुणा कोरी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोलोकानंद श्री राधे गोलोकानंद राधा गोलोकानंद श्री राधे जय राधा गोलोकानंद श्री राधे जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व जय पंच जय जय प्रभुपाद Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Shri Radha Golokananda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanandi, Hari 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 Bo. O Venerable Vaishnava, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your lotus feet and purify me. I hold to your lotus feet. Teach me to control my 6 passions, rectify my 6 faults. Bestow upon me the 6 qualities, and offer unto me the 6 kinds of holy association. I do not find the strength to carry on alone the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hari. Please bless me by giving me just 1 drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours, you have the power to give him to me. I am simply running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai.
Etadrishita vakriba bhagavan mamapi Durdaiva midrishami hajjanina nuraga Trinadapi sunichena Charorapi suhishuna Amanina manadena Kirtaniya sadahari Nadanam najanam nasundarim Kavitam vajagadisha kamaye Mama janmani janmani ishvare Bhavatad bhakti ahoita ki tvai Ainanda tanuja kinkaram Patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha Kribayata vapada pankaja Stita duli sajashim vichintaya Nainam galadashu daraya Varanam gad gadaradaya gira Pulakarnishitam vapukada Tava namagrahane bhavishyati Yugayatam nimishena Chakshusha pravashayatam Shunayatam jagat sarvam Govindam virahename Ashlishyava padam radam parashtumam Adarshanam marma hata karotuva Yatatatava vidadatulam pato But prananatastusa eva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want to cause this devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shastra Ki Jai. And let's not forget that tomorrow is Harinam Sankirtan, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in Chapel Hill in front of the post office on Franklin Street. And they're playing a basketball game that day, so there's going to be a lot of people around. And we also like to thank Ratna Radhika for a wonderful class. It was very, very nice. And Sundari Radha for dressing the deities beautifully. How fortunate we are to be able to get together and actually have these wonderful morning programs where we can see the deity and hear the, thank you, Hare Krishna, and hear the wonderful glories of the devotees. Hare Bo. What were you going to say?
Hare Krishna. Sattar Prabhu's brother's wife left her body last night and she was initiated by His Holiness Satyaswarup Maharaj and her name was Kumudaki. And also, unfortunately, Sattar Prabhu's another brother left his body 2 days ago. So we can pray for both of them. They're both a very good devotee. I know Mataji personally, very advanced devotee. Yeah.
Let's all chant. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.